Hi, this is part 2 of AI-powered ESG and Financial Reports Insights Agent. Here we would like to show you the working model of our code. But before we jump into the code, we would like to show how we collected the data. This is our reports insight bucket that we have in the GCP. And all of these are some of the companies for which we collected 5 years of annual reports and sustainability reports. All these reports are freely available on the websites. Now there are some of the websites like annual reports website, which consists of hundreds of companies annual reports and sustainability reports, or which is also called as responsibility reports. Most of the data we collected from reports data we collected from here, and we saved it for our use case in the buckets. Now we are going to evaluate and analyze 4 companies: Amgen, GlaxoSmithKline, which is, these are all pharmaceutical companies, and then we are having Pfizer, and where we collected data from 2013. Then one more is the Novartis. So, and we are having 5 years of annual reports, and minimum 5 years of annual reports, and minimum 5 years of sustainability reports. All together, these reports consist of 52 files, and each file on an average they have like around 250 to 300 pages. So we are going to actually analyze and extract data from 12,000 pages of PDF files, from 52 PDF files. We are going to now see how much time it takes and the performance here. Now this is a basic setup that we have used here. We are using the big frames and user authentication, and importing some important libraries. Then this is the initializing. We are initializing parameters here, so you can choose the companies from the company list of companies we have here in the bucket. Now we are choosing the healthcare pharmaceutical drug companies, so we have taken 4 of them. After setting up some of the basics here, this is to show we are using Gemini 2.5 Pro because of its good capability to analyze and also give us analytical information wherever we are asking. Then the project configuration, then we are having the cloud resource setup here, free. Then we fetch the service account, and then we apply the roles like object viewer and AI platform on the service account for that connection string. Then the Gemini model is created, and the model that gets created is here. Gemini model in the BigQuery, it gets created in this data set. And once a model gets created, we create an object table. The object table basically creates referential data to all of these GCS files. So on top of this object table, so here you can see, once you run this cell, the 52 files have been referential data for 52 files, metadata is created, and it is saved here as the metadata, all reports object table metadata. This is a basic schema from default schema that with which the table gets generated. This is dynamic table in nature. Now the next one is the GHack text. This is a Gen AI BigQuery tool that we can use on top of the object table to get the required information that we want, where it will actually extract the data from the underlying PDF files. So we are asking the ML-generate text to go and look through all the 52 files, and for each of those 52 files extract the information for financial and ESG data. It has to fetch the data for the tabular data, image data, and text data as well. Then we are giving the context, like the report is financial, then you should get only the financial information. If it is ESG, fetch the climate sustainability impact information. And we want the prompt, we want to ensure that the ML-generate actually gets the information, numerical information, metrics information for revenue, assets, income, cash flow, scope, emissions, etc. And then we are also asking it to get the details for the financial details like financial performance, business strategy, risk factors, governance and leadership, shareholder value. On top, once it gets this data, we can do a lot of queries on top of it. That is what we are going to see now. So let us run this to show how what the performance, how fast it runs. We have already did a quick run before once, and then it took 3 minutes. So let us do it again. And here is our execution time. It takes like how long it takes to run. The maximum it takes is 3 to 4 minutes. 4 minutes also, we have not come to 4 minutes. The maximum it takes is 3.5 or so to go through 52 files, 12,000 pages of data on an average. Yeah, 12,000 pages. So okay, so it's approximately taken 1 minute, but this is a but because it was already run once, this is a cached, we can say, and it took lesser time, but the maximum it takes is 3 minutes. Now the data, that the response that you get from here is saved in the raw table. If you can see the raw table, the data looks something like this. Like if you see the first column, the data looks like this. Now this is not easily readable, so what we are doing is we are having the data hidden as part of the content and the parts. So this is where the actual data is here. We have written one curation layer to clean that and get the proper curated data in a way that it is readable. So once you run that, and we go back to the curated table now here. So okay, so this response text is the data that we have just cleaned off of the JSON formatting, but it is, the data is still unstructured. That is what is we would like to mention. The data is still unstructured, just the JSON format was cleaned off from here. Now from this column, now we can apply two things. One is we can apply the AI generate and get so many questions answered, which is what we are going to do here. We have to, this also helps us to know whether what is the quality of the data that got generated just now. Now if by applying we have taken default 50 questions from finances and 50 questions from ESG and applied these 100 questions on this response text column, on the unstructured column. Now unstructured data in the column, and we want to see how, what are the results, whether it does a good job, what is the quality of data that got extracted using the ML generate text, right? So how well did it fetch the data? So we are trying Novartis 2024 an annual report, and we are asking it to do about 100 questions, 50 questions in annual report. We have another 50 questions in sustainability, and we can also always give our own questions. Like you can make this whole section interactive by asking it so many other questions that is not part of the default. What is the cash flow this year, or any other questions that requires an analysis or some logical interpretation, we can do that as well. But this is just to see how well it answers some theoretical questions here, and also whether it is able to generate the metrics data, some of the numbers, whether it's able to fetch that information. So once you run this one, it should not take more than a minute to get all these questions answered, and let us see how it answers. Okay, here you go, it answered in 53 seconds. It's given us the answer. Now you see what is the total revenue, 50,000, total assets 102, then you can see the cash flow of 16, the total net income 11,000. Let us quickly go through the annual report and see whether the numbers are any close. So you can see this is the tabular data, and it was able to fetch the right information, 50,316.7. Then you can see the net income is 11,000 something, and you see the cash flow 16 to 53. Now we have not done anything fancy in our prompt. If you can see here, our prompt is very straightforward. We are simply asking it to get the details, whatever metrics information for revenue, assets. We have not given any specific and any prompt that is specific for any particular company or question. So the questions here are totally anything but random. Sorry, it's totally random in nature. Any question can be asked, and the answers are here. Will be extracted from there. Now, given the way it answered the question, it is quite promising. This tool does a good job of extracting tabular data and textual data as well. Now, if you see some of the analytics part, whether it was able to analyze some of the questions, theoretical questions. Let us say, for example, are acquisitions or divestitures planned? This is something that requires the processor to look through the PDF text and answer us. So, is the company expanding geographically? So yes, the company is focusing on priority markets, which include US, Germany, China, and Japan. So it has to look through the data to answer these kind of questions. So it does a good job. And also so many questions on risk factors. Are the supply chain risk material? Yes. Are legal or regulatory risks mentioned? Yes. And then it tells how, where, how is the foreign exchange risk managed? So it answers that as well. So a lot of questions here it was able to answer, and if it cannot answer, it actually says not available, information is not available. So very useful information we were able to gather from here. Now apart from the curated layer where we have like this is the textual column from where we have extracted all this information. Using this text that got generated, we can also get metrics data. So if we use generate table, and let us run this one, and if you run this, we are asking it using that column which I've just shown. We are asking this to give us metrics, direct values for revenue in millions, net income millions, the currency, total assets, and then we're asking it to fetch this, and we are providing it an output schema of what the type and the kind of data that we are asking, metric information we are asking. So it takes about a minute, not more than a minute, to get this data, and we are here now. This metric data is processed for all the 52 files. And it takes like around 40 seconds or so, but it gets this information, and it saves it in another table, which we are calling it as the metrics table. So that looks like this. So we are having all the data numbers here, total assets and all the numbers. So this is the best part. Now we can easily do some projections and visualizations, and that is what we are going to see next. That's what we're going to see next in the third part, part 3. Thank you.